Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Prog Mondays. Today I'm going to be telling you guys what I've been listening to throughout the month of May. There isn't too much. A lot of discovery this month. I think you just saw one of them. A lot of discovery this month. New music. Well, not really necessarily new, but new to me at least. So yeah, it's again mainly prog. I mean, there's some other stuff here and there, but and there is a couple of things that I don't actually own on vinyl or CD or anything, which I'll go through first. I think there's only one album that I haven't got on any media, physical media. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the one that I do not have on vinyl currently is Turn of the Cards, I believe, and it's by Renaissance, a folky kind of prog band. I've listened to a couple of their other albums, but this one was one that I was new to, and it's got some of the most amazing tracks on it, some of the most amazing orchestration. The vocals are on point, and they're just a great group. I think they're quite underrated. So I've listened to Ashes Are Burning and also Scheherazade and Other Stories, two very, very good albums, very folky. I like that kind of feel. Sometimes I don't want to have something that's too intense coming my way, and that's my Renaissance are my go-to for that particular kind of move. It's like, I want to listen to progressive rock, but I don't want to listen to anything too intense. I'll usually go for something like Renaissance or like, you know, maybe bits of Yes or the Moody Blues or even bits of Pink Floyd. But they're a great one for like chilling out. I think my favourite track on this was Mother Russia. It's such a powerful song and the orchestration is fantastic. It's a great, great album. If you haven't listened to it yet, I really recommend it. It's absolutely stunning. Another album that I've been listening to, which I don't have, which I just completely forgot about, was Magnification, as I mentioned earlier, which was in 2001, and that's by Yes. I'm currently in the process of getting a copy of that, but I've not been able to find one for a good price. I might just get it on CD if I can't find a good one on vinyl. But that is a fantastic album. Yes got in an orchestra to help them with this album, and it's fantastic. There's some Chris Squire sang one of the songs on the album, and you know, I'm a big fan of his solo stuff, so I'm a big Chris Squire fan. He's one of my biggest influences and inspirations for playing bass and stuff like that. But it is a fantastic album. Definitely want to check out if you like the symphonic live album that Yes did with, I've got that on vinyl right here actually. I got this very recently, well not very recently, a few months ago. But this is a fantastic live album. If you liked this, then you will like Magnification. Alright, so as for physical media that I've got that I've listened to this month, I'll go through the CDs first. This one, I'm going to butcher the name because I'm not very good with names. But it is this album, let's go with MDK. So I've got a longer name there at the back, but I'm just going to refer to it as that because that's a very long name. But this is by Magma. I got a Magma box set very recently of their studio albums, and I've been listening to those. I've just fallen in love with their weird sound. I love it so much. Just fantastic band for people who want to get into that kind of stranger and more experimental side of progressive rock. I'd probably put them in like the same category as something like Can in terms of experimentalness. But this is a great album. The only other album of theirs that I've heard was Udu Wudu, which I actually got on vinyl. I haven't got this yet on vinyl, but I have got it on CD. I'm hoping to get this on vinyl very soon. But it is very, very good. I mean, from the first track, I was hooked. It's just got such an interesting concept. The band is so interesting, and learning about, you know, all, you know, the language that they're speaking in, which is, I believe, something that the drummer, the driving force behind this group, actually created. Which is very, very cool, and it's very prog. But this is fantastic. If you have not checked Magma out, then definitely check them out. They're a very, very good band. And the other one that I've got on CD here, this is what I mean by I haven't got all prog this month, but this is Kraftwerk. I've been getting into more electronic music as of lately. And this is one album that I listened to, which my dad showed me. This is Autobahn. I really just love the title track of this, the 20-minute one. It's great. I listened to it on like a train journey somewhere. I've listened to it on vinyl, but we've got the vinyl downstairs. But this CD came from the catalogue box set, which we got very recently. And I like the format of the CD actually. It looks just like the vinyl. It's a fantastic album. It's kind of proggy, kind of not, but it's more on the, you know, electronic side of the progressive spectrum. But fantastic, definitely one to check out. On to all the vinyl that I've listened to this month. There's quite a lot. So the first one here, Trespass by Genesis. So this is the album before Nursery Crime. I saved this album for a reason, because I didn't want to listen to all of the early Genesis in one big kind of lump. I wanted to kind of spread it out. So I listened to this album very recently and I absolutely loved it. It's the beginning of a great prog band. This is a great progressive rock album. I believe this is of 1970 this came out. But The Knife is on this album and they do a great live version of it on the Genesis live album. I think that was 1973. I've got a copy of it up there somewhere. But it is a fantastic album. Very just Genesis, early Genesis, what can I say? Theatrical, amazing, great songwriting, great musicianship, everything. This is a album that is, I think, quite underrated in the early Genesis discography, I think. But I might be wrong there, but this is a very good album. Alright, next up, I got this at a record store very recently. I went with my dad to, once the record stores reopened over here, which was like a few weeks ago now, we went into one of our favourite record stores and I found this album because I'd listened to bits of it and I wanted to listen to the rest of the album, but I wasn't very keen to listen to it on Spotify. I'd rather listen to it on a physical media, and that is Breakfast in America by Supertramp. This one is one that I've been meaning to listen to for so long. It's such an iconic album and I love it so much. I mean, it's got so many great tracks on it, and the album cover is actually very cool. I never noticed that this in the background, the like city is meant to, it's got like, you know, household items. I thought it was just a city. And I wondered why people were going on about the cover for so long, and I actually stopped and looked at it. But this is, musically, this is a very good album. I do like Supertramp. We've got one other album of theirs, which is Crime of the Century, but I've not actually listened to that one in full yet. But this is very good, and I don't really know if I need to tell you guys to listen to it, because you probably already have. So, if you haven't, definitely check it out. It's great for people who want to get into prog. You know, it's kind of proggy, but kind of not. Alright, next up, we have Space Shanty by Khan. Now, I got this album and reviewed this album quite a while ago, but I've been getting back into it as of late. It's just a fantastic album. Ever since I did the, I had the feature on Sea of Tranquility where we talked about the Canterbury albums, I fell in love with this album all over again, because before we did that recording, I listened to all the albums that I picked, and I've just been listening to this one non-stop ever since. I mean, Hollowstone is such a great song, great musicianship, fantastic, fairly underrated album, some Canterbury scene. If you're interested in that, then definitely pick this up. It's got a lot of great musicians on it, so definitely pick this one up. Alright, so next we've got a little bit of the neo-progressive rock here. So this is Fugazi by Marillion. This is probably now one of my favourite Marillion albums out of, you know, the early stuff with Fish. But this, I mean, She Chameleon I've been listening to for like at least a couple of times, like every couple of days. Like, I always listen to that track now. It's so good. Very gripping. I love a good organ. I love a good organ sound. It always like pulls me in. So if you have any music recommendations that have a church organ, leave them down below. If I haven't listened to them yet. But this is a fantastic album. I still love Script for Justice Tier more, but if you haven't listened to Marillion, you definitely should, because although a lot of people like to kind of hate on them because they sound too much like early Genesis, I think that they're their own thing. You know, it's theatrical, it's great, it's big and wonderful. And they do concept albums too. I don't believe this is a concept album, but Misplaced Childhood is. And I still kick myself because in my video of my favourite progressive rock concept albums, I actually did a section about Misplaced Childhood, but I lost it. And I didn't end up putting it in the video. And I saw loads of comments at the bottom like, where's Misplaced Childhood? And I thought, well, I put it in the video, didn't I? And I thought, oh no, I did not put it in the video. But this is, anyway, going back to this album, it's fantastic. Same with the Genesis one. I've been spreading out my Marillion listening so that I don't listen to them all at once. But definitely check this one out. It's a fantastic album. Next up here we have Eye in the Skies by the Alan Parsons Project. I've been really listening to so much Alan Parsons Project music lately. Not sure why. I guess I really love Turn of a Friendly Card and I love this album, but I only ever heard this album once before re-listening to it this month. And the further down the track list, the better the songs get. I mean, you know, the title track, it's a great song, all that, but the last few songs are probably my favourite on the album. It's just so big and grand and wonderful and obviously well produced. So this is a fantastic album. If you haven't checked it out, I don't know if I need to tell you that. Definitely do. I'm a big fan of the Alan Parsons project and pretty much any kind of album that has Alan Parsons in the background usually sounds really good. Alright, next up, The Ladder by Yes. So this is late Yes, this is end of the 90s. First time I heard this, I didn't really like it. I thought it was a bit too cheesy because I was so used to listening to everything before Drama, so basically all the 70s stuff. I've not actually listened to anything past Drama apart from this album and Magnification, which I'll get into in a minute because I did listen to that this month. But this one was new to me and I loved it. I think it's New Language is my favourite on this album. It's got some great keyboard moments and it's really well produced. Just a fantastic album. I think that Yes are the ultimate progressive rock band in the way that they've progressed throughout the ages. And yeah, I definitely recommend this one for people who want to listen to stuff after they've gotten through the 70s stuff, because I'm not actively avoiding the 80s Yes stuff, but I've just not gotten around to it yet. But I wanted to listen to the prog resurgence albums of the 90s, things like this and things like Black Moon by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, or Thrack by King Crimson, like all of the kind of older bands from the 70s doing stuff in the 90s. Anyway, I'm digressing again. Pink Floyd with Division Bell and stuff like that. But this is a fantastic album. Definitely listen to it. It's quite a long one, but it's still got the same Yes song structures, you know, long music. There are some kind of smaller tracks, but there are quite a lot of 5-minute plus songs on it, so it's not completely straying away. And the last album, we're going to finish up with a non-progressive rock album here, because I've loved this album ever since I was about 14 or 15, and I re-listened to it very, very recently, and I just completely forgot how brilliant of an album this is. It's not prog, but it's got proggy elements, and that is Black Holes and Revelations by Muse. I have loved this album for so long. It feels like a childhood album to me, even though I'm not sure if I'd count like 13, 14 years old as childhood, but I guess you could. But I fell in love with this album initially through Knights of Sidonia, which is what my parents showed me, which is the kind of epic on that concludes the album. But there are so many great tracks on this, so many like hidden gems. For example, Hoodoo, fantastic song, one of the best pieces of music ever written. I think Matt Bellamy's got such a great voice. He's a fantastic musician, and you know, the whole band, they're one of my favourite 3-piece bands. I'm just taking a look at the track listing now. I mean, I do love Knights of Sidonia, I do love Supermassive Black Hole and stuff like that, but there are some very, very great songs. I mean, Hoodoo, Soldier's Poem, you know, City of Delusion, everything. This whole album is just fantastic. It's proggy. It's like modern day prog, but with a bit more like kind of classic inspired rock. So it's got its proggy elements. If you listen to Knights of Sidonia, you'll kind of sit there and think, well, this is quite like a progressive structure, you know. It's got the same kind of build-ups and the format of a prog song. Just like how Bohemian Rhapsody is basically a progressive rock song at this point, because so many sections, different changes and all that kind of stuff. It's a fantastic song. Fantastic. It is pretty much progressive rock. And I think that concludes it. So what have you guys been listening to this month? Let me know in the comments, and I will start compiling my June playlist very soon, because it is the end of May now, so I'm going to be starting up my June monthly playlist. So just for new people here, every last day of the month pretty much I do a video about what I've been listening to in the month that's just been. So I've done one for every month up until now, and I saw a lot of people in the comments requesting me to do some playlists on Spotify for what I've been listening to monthly, and I have been doing that. They are always linked in my descriptions in every one of my videos, so you can check those out. I know a lot of people have messaged me saying they've discovered some new stuff via those playlists, so I think that they are quite popular with you guys and the people who follow me on Instagram as well. And yeah, so I will see you guys on Wednesday for another review. I'm very excited for Monday because I'm going to a record fair. I've never been to a record fair before, so I'm very excited. I'm going to take as much cash as I can because I like supporting local businesses and also business owners. So yeah, see you guys on Wednesday. Bye!